Hi guys, Herbalist40 here and welcome back to the channel. Right, so for today's video I'm kind of going to bring something pretty big in my opinion and definitely new. But before we get to that I just want to take a look at the dog basically. That's all I'm going to say about it for now. But basically Chop and this particular Labrador Retriever. Now I'm not sure if Chop is, well I'm sure he is, but I don't really understand Chop quite that much just yet. But as you can notice, Chop here is crowned, and next to Chop you have the Labrador Retriever again, which has these heart earrings with some sort of rays coming off them. So I thought that was interesting to point out. Now this is going to be basically building up to what I'm calling as something big and something new. So moving on, again here's another angle Chop with the crown and the dog with the earrings. I want to point out here as well that, I don't know, this could be some form of like little zebra toy, or is it a little dog toy? I don't know, you guys, kind of hoping that you can tell me. I'm going to point out that she is in stripes and she has got the top hat on, but that's all I'm going to say about that right now, and this can be found in Trevor's car. Again, coming back to the dog, sorry, coming back to the dog, this is a picture of the Labrador Retriever again, but this one is in Michael's house. Now it's in one of the rooms downstairs, but yet again you find it in his daughter's room upstairs. Same picture, same dog. This is another place that he's been located, and this is a website that you can try out. It's basically, it offers you to, do you want to play God? And you first get this picture if you guys don't know, and the second one is this one, and the family's dead, the car's burning. It's kind of significant in its own way, but I didn't really want to go into too much detail about that just now. What was important to me was pointing out the dog to you, because this is kind of, in a weird way, drifted me off to something else and realising one of my mistakes. So we're just going to switch to the map now. Right, so rather than start off at the map, we're going to start off here. This is basically a constellation of stars called Canis Major. Now, I'm just going to point out that this is an abstract version. I just wanted you to see it because it kind of shows it in a bigger kind of form. It's a little bit easier to see, but it is a lot more abstract and not quite as detailed as the full constellation, which we're going to switch to now. Right, so if I zoom in for you here, now you're looking at the full Canis Major. So as you can see, the only extra details we have here is the underbelly of the dog shape and the head. Now what I want to point out is Sirius, as you can see there, Sirius A, and to the right of that, which is a bit of a smaller circle, you can see B, which is Sirius B. So there's two planets called Sirius, but Sirius A happens to be the brightest planet in the night sky, or something along those lines anyway, or the brightest star. We're going to take a look now at my finding, and I hope you guys can see this clearly, but I'm going to go over it with you step by step anyway. But what you're looking at is Canis Major, the full constellation on the map. Now I'm going to point out one of my mistakes right here before we carry on any further. In my previous video I said that these three blue ones here, I said that they were Orion's belt, and that basically it was just a duality of the Orion's belt that Jack Treehorn pointed out to me. Now thanks again, buddy. If I zoom in here, you can see that we've got Orion's belt in green. Now Orion's belt is followed off with the white lines, but I want you to focus on the black lines for the minute. I only put these in white to distinguish the fact that I made a mistake on those. Right, we're going to start off at the tail of the dog, and you're going to ask me perhaps why I've put the tail right here randomly in the middle of the ocean. But whilst I was making the constellation, while I was putting the points down, I realised that Rockstar, kindly enough, included a shark on the map. I don't know if you can see that right there, but that's a little shark. Now This is not the only place you find sharks, nor is there an abundance of sharks here compared to anywhere else on the map, but this is the only place on the map they chose to put a little shark. And I find that very interesting because I was wondering where the hell am I going to put the tail for the dog, and just so it turns out that Rockstar kind of put a little pointer there for me. Now, carrying on, these are 3 mountain peaks and they're not really named, but basically these mountain peaks are the back legs of the dog, and I thought they were Orion's belt. I do apologise for thinking too fast and not doing my research, but I realised my mistake all by myself like a big boy, so here I am fixing that for you guys right now. Right, moving on to the next point, we're going to take a look here. Now, you can't really see because I've actually put the pin right on top of it, but that says 17, which is basically pointing out Highway 17. First question is maybe why did I choose to put that there? Now, there is a good reason I put that there, and we're going to jump straight to it just so it kind of makes sense, but we're going to go from here straight to the belly of the dog, and this is basically smack bang on the maze bank building, and the only reason I put it here and not right here where this blue pin is, because that's where I originally put it but I changed it, is because I don't know if you've noticed this, but some of the helipads actually have numbers on them. I don't know, but the fact that the maze bank building perfectly fitted for the stomach of the dog, and the fact that the maze bank building helipad actually has the number 17 on it, so that's kind of why I decided to put the Highway 17 pin down instead of this one right here, which is still interesting, but it fits into another constellation, funnily enough. Moving on, now basically this is the base of the neck, and this would be Sirius A, so the brightest star, and it just so happens that that lands straight on the Ferris wheel, or Ferris wheel. So it kind of makes sense if you ask me. If you go check that place out, it is pretty damn bright. It doesn't stop flashing day and night. Joshi, Isla's Joshi, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's a good pal of me and Wispy, and he actually pointed out that occasionally the pier, or the Ferris wheel itself, actually has a star graphics come on with the lights. I don't really know how to explain myself on that one. But you'll have to go check it out. It kind of really fits for Sirius A, which would be the brightest one. But moving on, down here, I've put this smack bang on the quartz center, and we're going to come back to that last. But there's a very, very good reason that that star is there, and we're just going to jump back to Canis Major quickly. So basically, this would be the quartz center, this little star here that fits onto the line. But moving on to B, so there you have the Ferris wheel, the quartz center, and moving on to B, it actually fits on the top of the mountain here. Now, I hope I don't mistake. I can't, my memory's gone. I'm not going to say Josiah or Gordo, but this is one of the mountains. It could be an unnamed one. I'm not too sure, but it definitely fits on that peak. Now, this is where it gets kind of interesting again, is because where it goes up towards the belly, where the leg stops forming, it actually lands smack bang on Michael's house. On the yoga one more than the tennis one, to be precise as well. Now, I want to point out right now that there could be some little mistakes, and I'm not guaranteeing that these are going to match up to the official astrological dimensions between each one of these stars. And there's a reason for that, is because no matter how hard I try, I'm no mathematician, and there's no way that I can, maybe, I don't know, I've tried to kind of look into it, but mapping out the scales of the stars, which are basically measured in light years, and putting them down here to like inches and centimeters, is kind of a tricky task to take on. Now, I'm not going to say I'm stupid, but I'm not that smart. But anyway, moving on, if you take a full look now, I'm sure you can see it, it really does form exactly the same shape as the constellation I showed you on Wikipedia just there. But anyway, from Michael's house it goes back up to the maze bank, as I told you, which is the belly of the dog, and then it links straight back down to the first star on the foot, basically, on the back foot. What I didn't point out up here is the head kind of fits on the maze bank arena, and right here, I'll show you a screenshot later because I don't actually have one up now, I forgot to do that. But this is the postal office building. Now for some reason it's placed on the docks. I'm not really too sure why. I don't know if that's a good place for a postal office to be, maybe from incoming, I don't know, I thought things were transported by plane, but anyway, from the docks here, where the postal office is, right on this corner, if you actually go there, now there's a clock tower on top of the postal office, which kind of doesn't make sense to me either. There's a clock on all four faces of the tower and they're all broken. And I can't quite remember the time, but I will be showing you a screenshot in just a little while. But just to kind of finish this off, this one, I don't know if you can see it, but I'll try and get the right angle. I'm sure you probably can't see it, but basically on the map here there's quite a few hangars that are open and that contain planes or don't, but for some reason they chose this hangar in particular to, it's actually open and it kind of shows a plane in there. I don't know if you can see that, you might be able to see it right there. So out of all of the hangars they chose to put a plane picture on only this one, the same as they put the shark down here. Now I'm not sure, I didn't really check it out because I'm a bit overexcited and I've just got back from work and I'm a bit tired as well. But basically they kind of put that there in my opinion so that we could map out this constellation. And again, I just want to point out that this is the full constellation of Canis Major on the map. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to switch back to the PS4 and I'm going to show you a screenshot of the clock tower on the postal office, and I'm going to explain to you why the court centre is so important. So I'll be back with you guys in just a second. Right, so I've chosen to explain the court centre first and why that's more important to me than the clock tower just now. And this is courtesy of Eyeless Joshy. Again, this guy, he kills it. He's a good pal of me in Wispy Woods. He's always got some wicked cool ideas. And on this one, trust me, he killed it. Now, I want to point out that the constellation that I just pointed out to you on the map, again, is called Canis Major, which means the Great Dog, or something along those lines. Now, I showed you the pictures of the dog. That's what kind of built me up to looking into the dog in general. I kept seeing that Labrador Retriever everywhere, and there's some interesting paths it's taken me down, and I will get to those in the future, but just for now I'm going to try and skip out some of the details and just stick to the facts in a sense. What we're looking at is a screenshot that Joshy sent to me, and along with a little bit of information, and basically this is the Canis Mesa. So I don't know if you can straight away make the correlation between Canis Major and Canis Mesa, but there's not that much of a difference. Now I haven't looked if there's an actual meaning behind the word Mesa, but there probably is. Now I'll get into that in the future as well. But just for the time being, why is this relevant to the court centre? I haven't really had a chance to check this up 100, but if Joshy vouches on this, which he has, basically the only place you can get this vehicle in story mode is during a mission at the court centre. He had one himself, so he kindly sent me a screenshot. Now, I want you to understand that the fact that the court centre was literally one of the enigmas on the map, and that Joshy come along and just told me that the only place you can get this vehicle in story mode, according to him. Now I'm pretty sure this is true if he's telling me so. If I'm wrong, I really do apologise, but still, you can definitely get this vehicle at a mission that takes place at the court centre, and it just so happens to be the Canis Mesa. Now, I'm not going to revisit Wispy Woods, but has he not shown us enough references to cars and the brands that GTA chose for their cars? I even believe they chose to change some of the brands over the years, and for what reason? Probably this one exactly. But moving on now, I'm going to come back to my laptop and I'm going to show you another constellation which I have managed to map out, so catch you for that. Ooh, nearly forgot there. Right, so this, as promised, is a quick screenshot of this. I'll show you again. It's basically this part of Canis Major, which is the head of the dog, and it happens to be the postal office, as I said, and the clock is always stuck on this particular time. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out for you there, and I will get back to that in the future, but for the moment, as I said, I'm not really going to go into too much detail because I feel it would be a little bit too much just to try squeeze into one video, and I'm absolutely wrecked from a day of work, and not to mention I can't wait to start beating up Wispy Woods on Mortal Kombat, so let's not even go down that road. Right, anyway. Right, so here you have the full constellation of Orion. Now you can see here that that's basically Orion's belt, for those of you who don't know, and again I've got the map the right way up now for this one. The green pins here are basically located on the Ponsonby's clothes store. There are only 3 and they are placed here, and as Jack Treehorn pointed out to me, this is basically the Orion's belt, not what I initially thought, this, which is the back foot of Canis Major. Anyway, back to the point. I'm not asking for any praise here, but believe me when I tell you, this took me quite some time. It was a little bit of a pain in the arse to do. It took a lot of time figuring out where the points actually went. Now it's all mapped out for you. I kind of feel like you guys might think it's easy. Trust me, it was a fucking nightmare. But anyway, I got it done. So here you have the belt. I'm going to come back to the picture just so you've got that in mind. So the belt is there, and as I said, if we map that correctly, here you have Fort Zancudo, here you have the prison, and here you have Stab City. Those of you who don't know or can't remember, basically Stab City is the kind of the lost MC's home base. Like, that's where they hang out. There's a pretty cool stage. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on at Stab City, but what's most important here is Fort Zancudo. Now, going back to the constellation itself, I just want to point out Beetlejuice. Now you can Google this, but Beetlejuice, Beelzebub, Satan, the devil. Okay, now it has a lot of other meaning, but I have a feeling that Wispy Woods did have a few things to say on that, so I'm not going to go into any detail on this either. I'm literally just here to point out my findings, how the constellations do actually map onto the map itself. Now, this being said, again, I could be wrong, but looking at it, it doesn't feel like I am. So anyway, we're going to carry on here. That's basically Stab City, the prison, Fort Zancudo, and we're going to move up here towards what's going to be Palito Bay. Now, following the lineup, you might have noticed that here there should be a planet. Now, this is why my first video was the path to unity. Now, the link in the description to that video is a nice documentary. It has a really nice idea to it. It's pretty cool. But the point was for you guys to understand that I'd be arrogant, and any YouTuber or any guy on Reddit would be arrogant to try and make you believe that they hold the answers and they alone hold the answers. That is not the case. We, as a community of gamers on GTA 5, hold the answers. All of us. There is no way in hell that I can fit all of this information into my mind. Now again, I'm trying to encourage you here to understand that just because me, Wispy Woods, Fearless Force, Trippy, whoever you want to watch, just because we're here spreading information does not mean that we do not need you, all of you, because every input is important. No knowledge is bad knowledge. Knowledge is power. Understand that. But anyway, there's one missing here, so if anyone wants to jump in the comments, if you can figure out what star would fit in here, I'd be really grateful for that. But anyway, moving up. This star fits onto the hunting marker there on the map, and I just want to point out this is where Trevor goes hunting, and it's also where Trevor gets the black and red quad bike that we often see him in the Rockstar screenshots or Rockstar homepage screens. So anyway, moving on. This one just so happens to fit on the Ultras camp. Now, as I said, I'm not going into any detail as to why these fit, but trust me, they do, and I will get to it. Is this just an Easter egg that I've found that has gone unnoticed so far? Yes and no. I believe that there is a lot more to this, but as I said in the beginning, this would be too much to try and squeeze into one video, especially as I'm kind of all over the place right now. I'm trying to just wing it and get the video out to you guys, because otherwise I'm just going to fall asleep or just bash Mortal Kombat all night, so I'm sure you can understand. But I'm still going to take the time to explain which star is which point and all that, and I'm going to finish that off for you. Now, this one, it's actually smack bang on the clucking bell, the actual bell and the chicken or the rooster outside the factory. So I kind of felt that that was a nice fit. And moving on to the last star right here, well, not really the last star, but I'll get to that in a second. At first, you can actually see I put it in the tip of this, I don't know what you call this, but this little bit of island sticking out. It still could possibly go there. The only reason I changed it is because on the way there, this is basically where the tip of Mount Chiliad's shadow lands. It's pretty much right there. I made sure I was quite precise. I took my time, I made sure it was right, but I kind of felt that this was a little bit more, I don't know, it's still weird that it does stick out that far. Why did they choose to do that? I don't know. They've done it again here. Is it because some say, if you look at the map, you can kind of see a face there, and they would be horns, I suppose. Like I've heard that theory before. I don't like to discredit, so I just thought I'd include that for those of you who hadn't heard that before. But the point being, it kind of fitted better here, considering the image as well, that this would be it. It kind of looked a little bit nicer from here rather than here, so that's why I put that there. Now, again, we're going to switch back to the Wikipedia image. Now, as I showed you, these would be the 3 Ponsonbys, and here's where it gets a little bit interesting, because I can't actually locate this one. I think I've located this one here and this one, the big one, sorry, that one doesn't actually fit on it. This one and this one I've kind of managed to locate, but it's this one that's really bugging me. Now, as you can see, I hope, here is Orion's belt, and this is basically the right foot. Now I kind of put it smack bang on the Maze Bank building, sorry, the Maze Bank building. The reason that basically the map isn't big enough for the constellations to each have their own place, that's just the way it's going to be, but it kind of fitted there. I don't really have a reason for that, but I'll look into it, trust me, I'll look into it. And the bottom foot would land right here, and I'm going to show you a screenshot of this area in just a second because it does have its relevance. But as I said, if you take the left extremity of Orion's belt, the star I said was bugging me should be somewhere around here, maybe a little bit lower, maybe around here, but I can't figure out if there's something of that much importance around here, basically. I've had a little look, I will go back there, but in the meantime, if any of you guys know of something maybe underwater or on the shores here that's kind of interesting or that has a meaning, please feel free to point that out to me, because so far I haven't had much luck. I really hope that you guys kind of feel me with this. I think it's pretty much undeniable. I don't know, like as I said, I may have got a couple of the points wrong, but the constellations are there, and apart from this one point and this one point on the constellation of Orion, the whole of Orion, there's one point here that I can't find, so I'll show you again. It is Mount Josiah. On Mount Josiah, there's one point that should be somewhere along here. Can't find it. It might be a little bit lower, maybe around here. If there's anything of interest at all, please feel free to let me know. And again, down here, if we're going to take the Ponsonbys that's completely to the left and follow that down somewhere around here, I'd say. Okay, approximately, because I'm not sure that Rockstar would expect us to have the knowledge to actually put the mathematical side into it. It's possible, in which case maybe I'm completely wrong, but as far as I feel I'm not. I feel that this has a lot of importance because these constellations, and I'm going to get to this in a video in the next couple of days, hopefully, as to why these constellations and their background stories and their meanings to certain civilizations can correlate to the game and kind of maybe alleviate certain other beliefs and religions, etc., just for the moment, so we can focus on this path, because I don't believe that this is just a simple Easter egg of being able to place the constellations on the map. I believe there is more to it. Right, now before I leave you guys, I said I was going to point out that particular star, which was the bottom right foot of Orion, which lands right here, South Los Santos, just underneath the Olympic Freeway. If you check out my video where I kind of did a drawing of Mount Chiliad over here by not actually overlaying it but actually using the lines that were already pre-existing on the map, the eye right here, like, you can go and check out the previous videos. I encourage you all to do that if you haven't seen them all, because they all kind of build up to something, and there's a lot of open doors that are very interesting, and there will be another one of those for today. Kind of made a format there, and I'm going to try and stick to it as long as I have enough content, and trust me, for the moment I do. But this point here is basically the City of Davis Courts building. I don't know if you recognise this monument, but it's pretty hard to miss, and it kind of, I'm not going to go into the detail right now because I don't want to overdo it, I don't want to push it, I don't want to complicate it, but for the minute I'm just sticking to the facts. This here, this monument next to the City of Davis Court building, sorry, is basically the star point is right there, okay? Right, now moving on a little bit. This is part of the sculpture or the statue or whatever it is, the monument itself. Now, some of you may think that this is 69. I want you to Google symbols for Cancer. For those of you who have the time, I will be bringing it up in the future. I didn't want to bring up the details again. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. But if you Google symbols for Cancer and turn this way, it doesn't actually represent 69 at all. It actually represents the constellation of Cancer, which is the crab. I believe I'm pretty sure of that, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm right on that one. But Google the symbol for that, and again, in the future, I'll point out that there are two pluses or cross signs here and an arrow downwards, okay, just so you guys know. Two dots in the middle, certainly a reason for that, okay? That's all I'm going to say on the minute, but basically, for the minute, but this is the bottom right foot of Orion that I pointed out on the map, and I felt that maybe some of you wouldn't understand why every other point kind of had a importance to it, and this one does as well, and I will get to it in the future, but for the minute I'm just pointing stuff out now. I did take another screenshot of this graffiti that I'm not really too familiar with. This is on another foot, and it actually says Space Cake with a cross across the middle. I'm sure you all know what space cakes are. I'm sure some of you enjoy those. Thought I'd point that out there as well. But as usual, guys, I'm going to get ready to leave you now, but before I do, I just have something new again, but something I need your opinions on. So I'm going to play you a little clip right now, and it's basically the Fine Jewellery Jewellers. You can put it in the wiki, I'm sure you can find it, or just take a quick look at my map there. I'm sure you can replicate where it is. I think it's next to the first jewellery heist that we do in story mode. I think it's around that little street there. Could be wrong. My memory's not all that, as you may have noticed. But basically I'm going to play the clip, and my question is that this building is the same on both sides. Now, why is it that when I shoot one side, which is exactly the same as the other, completely mirrored, because I'm not just shooting shit randomly all day long, let me tell you, but sometimes I do just to muck around. But I want an opinion, because I'm no computer geek, I don't really understand how textures work completely. This just could be discarded as a glitch, but I really do want to know because it's kind of interesting. I'll just play the clip for you. I'll get back to you in just a second. Now this is the other side. I want to know why when I shoot this side there's no effect on this particular texture. Why? It's exactly the same as the other side, it's the exact same design. If you look to it at an angle, you can kind of see the light in the center of it from behind, like you can actually see it in a kind of 3D perspective. You'll see what I mean if you actually go there. But my point being is I don't understand why this building is replicated exactly the same on one side as it is on the other, but yet one side the texture is damageable and on the other it isn't. Does this mean anything? Am I missing something here? Does this building have a part in story mode that I may have missed out on? I'm not too sure. But anyway guys, I hope you really did enjoy this video, and again, I go through quite a bit of trouble doing this. I'm not trying to be a view whore here or nothing along those lines, but if you do enjoy the content, I encourage you to go and check out the old videos, and if you want to keep up to date, I have plenty more to come, as I said, so feel free to subscribe. But anyway guys, I'll catch you later, and until then, take it easy. See ya.